Okay. All right. Hopefully, people are going to start. All right. All right. Okay, VE. All right. You're in and can't hear you yet. Is connecting. Okay, Patty. All right. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. And okay. Okay, I heard a chime. So, Patty, looks like you're in.
I'm in and I'm shocked about it.
I'm shocked too. I'm shocked too. I have been on lots of Zoom calls. Well, not lots, but I've been on some, but I have never initiated. So I wasn't even sure how this was going to work. So
Yeah, but you can't see me, right?
I can't see you, but you can see me
Oh,
and you
right. I can see you. Yeah.
can hear me. Okay.
Yeah. It's you kind of fade in and out a little bit, but I heard you say you can hear me, but it skipped a little bit, but I could hear it. So,
Okay. I can hear you perfectly.
okay.
So,
Good.
um,
Good.
all right. And then I know there's a place for, do you see the chat
Um,
down at the, for me, it's at the bottom. And so, but again, since you can talk, I guess it doesn't matter.
I see where it says chat. Do you want me to click on that?
Well, I think that's mainly, I couldn't decide if I wanted to mute everyone or, and then that way you don't hear each other. And if there's a dog in the background, so I'm sort of thinking I might do that. I don't know. But I know I've got
Okay.
people, it's actually 6 on the nose, but I just got to notice that a couple people, I know of 3 for sure that will just have to watch the replay and
Okay.
things have come up. One person is just signing on and getting into the group, but I think we're just going to go ahead and
Okay.
start. And
Yeah, about how long will it last, Maggie?
I'm thinking 40-ish minutes because I'll be
Oh, okay.
right now. Zoom, this is just the free version of Zoom, and I think you only
Right.
40
It's
minutes.
40 minutes.
And
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't really know how long we would be because I know what I've got, but a lot depends on content and other things.
Okay.
So I thought, hey, let's just try it. If it seems like we're going to need more, then I can go ahead and upgrade to the other one. But I thought, well, let's just try it. Okay.
Yeah.
So again, this is my first time. So, but I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go ahead and get started. And you can see it, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And I'm not sure why it's taking this long for Veronica to get on. And
Well, we did have to load. I mean,
oh,
if she's not done it before,
I
I
know.
mean, yeah, she has done it before.
Well, no, I don't know. I know
Okay.
she has a business, so I would have assumed that she
Oh,
probably had it on, but again, and works from home. But I don't
well,
know.
the other two times I've been on with a group of friends, and then I did a city meeting,
Hmm.
and they were totally different.
Oh,
And Jeremy Mumford, I mean, I wasn't even going to be able to get on, and he was able to get me on from
oh,
his house for the city meeting.
oh,
But this one, it says you've got to download, and there are 2 or 3 things, and if she hasn't done it, I don't know.
okay. And I know there's a gal coming on because she helped me, but then her mother decided to sign up, so she's probably helping her. But I know she'll be able to. Her mom, I'm not sure, but we shall just get started because they can
Okay.
watch. And it looks like I want to make sure it's recording because
I can't help you, Maggie. We have to pull out an old-fashioned tape recorder.
Yeah. Well, earlier when I was practicing, it showed a place where, remember where I said that it had where it was chat?
Well, over on the left on my, yeah, but that seems to be, no, it's still here.
Well, see, I don't even
Oh.
see on the bottom of mine, it had all those things at the bottom, chat, different.
Yeah, but right now I have to click on it.
Oh,
But
wait.
now it says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay, which is fine because you wouldn't be sharing anything.
Yeah.
But I just don't see where, I hope I'm recording
The
because
recording thing on my screen is up on the left-hand corner.
I see stop video, but I don't see record. I see, well, you know what? It says pause, so I'm sure that's probably where normally it would have said record because,
Well, it says recording on mine.
okay,
Whether that means it is recording or not, but
okay. And then,
that's what it says.
all right, and then someone just popped in and said they're in the waiting room. Now I see you guys. Okay, let me stop sharing and go back because I think there's somebody else waiting to get in. Oh, I think she's trying to show me what it's supposed to look like. Hold on a okay. It says, please wait till the host lets you in. Oh, I thought I was doing so good. Well, let me tell her. Okay.
I had my phone ready for texting in case I needed to tell you I couldn't get on.
Where do I? And of course, I'm terrible with typing. Okay. See now okay, here it is. Admit. Okay. So yeah, okay, there she is. And it looks like, all right, connecting to audio. And it says recording, so I think we're good.
Yeah, it says recording.
Okay.
In a different spot now.
Right, exactly. All right, so I am gonna go ahead and she's in. Okay. I'm just going to mute everyone. And then if you have anything, just put it in the chat, okay? Okay. All right. All right. So here we go. All right. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead. Oh, wait a minute. Why don't I see myself? Okay. 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 All right. Okay. So I think, okay. All right. All right. So everybody can see the screen. All right. Maybe wave at me, letting me know you can. Actually, okay.
Maggie, can you hear me? This is Patty.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, it just said, I clicked on unmute because it said you asked me to unmute.
Okay.
Is that true? Was that true?
I don't know. Okay, I guess I want everybody to be on the same page. Veronica's got her hand up, so I'm assuming she's muted. Are you guys comfortable with being unmuted?
Yeah.
Okay, I can hear you. And all right, we're just gonna go with it. Whoever can talk, talk. And then you can either put something in the chat or, but
Where
anyway.
is the chat?
Okay, Danielle, are you in?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, the chat
So
is.
if you're using an iPad, the chat is in your top right-hand corner where you go to more and you click on the three dots and chat is one of the options. If you're using your phone, it should be in the bottom left or right hand corner. And if you're using a tablet or some type of notebook kind of laptop device, you'll see the chat at the bottom of your screen. Or it might
Yeah,
be,
I'm just using my computer and it says chat, so I'm supposed to click on that chat?
yes. And
If-
then you
Okay,
can type inside.
Right.
okay,
You can type something in, right?
okay.
Okay, got it.
Now, okay.
All right. I think we got it. All right. Did your mom get in, Danielle, or do you know?
She is gonna just watch the replay.
Okay, gotcha. All right, well, let's go ahead because, yeah, some of the people are just going to be replay. And yeah, there's a couple more, and I'm not sure what they're doing. So anyway, all right, so let's go ahead. We obviously know why we're here. And if you have comments, you could just ask, or you can put it in the chat. So,
Okay, Maggie,
yes.
when I clicked on chat,
Mhm.
then what came up on my screen is chat disabled.
Oh,
So,
you know what? Just ask a question. And usually with the chat, it says everyone, and then you can type like a question or answer. That's really,
I think I'll X out chat disabled.
no, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
No, that's perfect. So,
Okay.
all right. So you can see the full screen, right? And then I'm just up in the corner. All right. So first, before really, I think it's important as we're getting started even, just to make sure we talk about how important the mindset is, because that's going to affect really everything that we do. And I've had to work on my own mindset because of just this technology. You know, I'm constantly saying I'm not very tech savvy, and we all have those things that really can stop us and keep us from moving forward, because really we're just simply living up to what we're expecting. If I'm expecting that I'm going to have a difficult time, then guess what? I'm going to have a difficult time. So let's go through a few of these real quick. And do you find yourself saying of these? What are some of the things you say over and over, I don't have time for? You can just tell me out loud. Are there things that you find yourself making excuses and saying, oh, I don't have time to? Can you think of some things? What about, I've always been this way, I can't change? What are some of those things that you constantly are saying it? And sometimes we say it either jokingly, sometimes we say it half-heartedly, or we think it. Or I've tried to X, but it didn't work. You know, that's a big one. I've tried to start exercising. I've tried to. So can you think of some things, or I'm not just good at blank. I've heard people say, oh, I'm just not good at cooking. So,
Well,
mm-hmm.
on the I don't have time to, that's a little bit different since the quarantine.
Right.
You know, like I never had time to do extra fun reading, things I like to read.
Right.
And I have done, more of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not good at sewing or things like that, and I wish I were. And I'm not good at exercising. I've been better because
Mm-hmm.
I've been trying to get after I had my hip replacement, my leg was in such bad shape. The hip replacement went really well, no problems. But I've been babying the leg for so long
Right.
that it's taken me a long time to come back. So I'm not good at exercising. I'm decent at walking, and I've been trying to do a lot more of that.
Okay. Well, and I think that's a key too, is having that mindset that maybe just like with me with technology, I'm definitely not good at it.
Yeah,
I
me
can
either.
to improve. And I think as long as we're, even realizing that we can make improvements, that's a far cry from just saying, that's it, I just can't do it.
Yeah.
So, it's sort of the idea of making those baby steps. So anybody else have any of these that sort of stick out in your mind that you find yourself saying, okay, I don't have time. I've always been this way.
I've tried to be organized, but
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a big one too. That could almost fit in here. It's too hard. It's too late. I'm just not good at organizing. I've tried organizing, but it didn't work. I've always been this way. I mean, that one really with organizing, and really a lot of these, it could fit in multiple places. And so we just have to move beyond that. So,
You know, I will say I am a good organizer, but if you saw my house,
oh,
you wouldn't believe it. I mean, I've got little stacks everywhere. Anybody else like that?
Yes,
And
yes. Got little
maybe
piles
the
in every corner that sort of goes, this is for this and this is for that, but
yeah.
it's not putting it where it really needs to be.
Yeah, and then I get behind in the kitchen, and then I'm like, I'll do that later.
mhm.
And even in the quarantine, I mean, I've been busy all day. I mean, I have the historical society and stuff that I do, and you know, I stay up late, and so then I don't want to get up very early. But I mean, like when I was teaching, my files were organized.
Mhm.
Problem was, once I pulled out the unit, then it would just get all over the classroom.
Okay, yeah.
But
That's
yeah.
that's a big one. But again, the idea is taking those baby steps and really, you know, first of all, acknowledging I can. Okay, it's not impossible. It's not too late. I can do this. And again, maybe just small steps. So good. All right. So the next thing is the importance of really committing to you know that you're going to work on the lessons, committing to time to put in. One of the biggies is committing to something new. And again, this is going to be your blueprint. Okay, it's not like just like if you were going to go build a house, it wouldn't be the builder's house. Now, the builder might give you some ideas, some recommendations, and say, well, maybe that might, let's try something else. But it's still your plan, okay? But again, I'm really going to sort of try to push you a little bit to, you know, get out of your comfort zone a little bit as far as trying some things, because we want to create a plan for you that's going to push you a little bit, but not to the point that it makes it so overly hard, because I think sometimes that tends to happen. For example, you know, you were talking about exercise and walking. If I say, all right, Patty, you're going to start walking 3 miles a day.
Oh,
When one would be hard, then of course we totally say, I can't, and then we shut down. And so I
and
think,
remember, I'm using a cane.
oh, okay, well, definitely, for sure. Then. But again, a lot of times we do set the bars so high.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I've read and listened to, a lot of us are perfectionists at heart, is really the key. You know, we might say, oh, I'm a clutterbug or whatever, but we are that perfectionist that says, ooh, I'm not going to tackle that until I have the whole day to do it. I'm not going to start that project until I have, you know, X amount of time. So hidden inside most people who are disorganized is a perfectionist that's just overwhelmed. And so we don't quite know. So again, we want to push ourselves a little bit, stretch a little bit, try some new things, but yet say, I can do this and I've got it. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go hopefully to my next slide. All right. So here is more or less the outline for the 4 Tuesdays. And then at the end, we'll probably do one just to sort of wrap things up, see if people have questions. But today we're talking about self-care. And then we will get into next week how food does matter and affects mood.
Maggie, I didn't get the new screen.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Oh.
The one I'm on is important tips for success.
Okay.
And
All right. Let me, Danielle, you have any ideas? Okay.
Is your self-care on your second? Is it on your other?
Okay. Can you see me?
Your other slide? Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So let me go back into share, and I'll just do it this way and see. All right. Can you see it now?
Yes.
yes.
Okay, good. All right. So this is just a breakdown of the 4 weeks. And of course, we're in session 1 today. Next week will be about what matters is in the way of food. And then we'll get into week 3 about movement, exercise, the thing we often don't like. And then the last week, we're gonna cram in sleep, stress, relationships, and spiritual food. So, but today is about self-care. And did all of you have a chance to look at your sheet? Any-
Yes.
Yes, but I've lost it.
Oh,
I
okay.
went back and tried to find it.
Oh,
I guess I should have printed it off at the time or something.
okay, well, I'll make sure and send you one, but you can still sort of follow along. I wish I had a sheet.
I mean, I went back to the screen and
Okay.
everything, but I couldn't get anything to activate. So
Okay.
I'll try.
Okay.
I'll try
Well,
again. Yeah.
I'll make sure that you get a copy of that. So no problem. But on this one, again, this is definitely one of the areas that we have to look at, sometimes changing our mindset. How are you guys when it comes to self-care?
Terrible.
Yeah, terrible.
Oh, anybody?
You got 2 people that are
Well, by the time you handle everything else, there's that tendency to make yourself last. You handle the day-to-day things that need to be done, the care of family and house and whatever, and it's kind of like, oh.
Yeah, that's true.
Of course, in my case, it's just me. But I do have, which makes it ridiculous that I can't take care of myself, but I've had, a lot of stuff at my church and a lot of stuff at the Historical Society, and I'm on a couple of city things, and I'm doing research on different things, and the days just go.
Right.
And really, over the years, even as I was so busy when I was teaching and play directing and everything, and I think I just got in bad habits, and it was just easy not to worry about myself physically or whatever. And I still think I'm fine mentally. I'm getting old, but I mean, I've just gotten out of the habit of taking good care of myself. Really, I think that's part of it.
Right. Well, and I think just like the little sign says, self-care isn't selfish, but I think we tend to think it is. And
Yeah.
we put everybody ahead of ourselves. The other thing is, because I think all of us are busy, people tend to give us projects because we get things done. And so I see that a lot where, because I know when I retired, from teaching, it was that way. Oh, well, you're home. And so, and then you almost feel guilty sometimes saying no, because I know that was me, if they need a meal for somebody who's maybe been in the hospital or had a baby, then, and I like doing that. I'm not saying it, I'm not complaining, but again, I feel like, well, I can, so I should. And so.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
And I enjoy doing things.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think that I'm, killing myself doing things. I really don't. But and I do get behind on other things. And
right. So on that sheet, one of the things it mentioned, it says, list some activities that you'd enjoy if you had a day without any obligation. So how about each of you share maybe one thing? What would you do? Danielle, what would you do if you had a day, you didn't have to do any counseling, you didn't have to clean the house, what would you do?
Read.
Okay. An actual book or like Kindle or?
The way the world is set up right now, when possible, an actual book, my preference, but if necessary, Kindle.
Okay. All right, Patty, what would you do?
Well, I do love to read. And like I said earlier, I've gotten to do some reading, since the quarantine. But something that I've had in the back of my mind forever, and if you inspire me during this month to get started, I'll be happy. Okay. I love history. I love the history of Casey. And for several years now, I've had this script in the back of my head and to write those City of Casey, the history of it in a play,
Mm,
and then eventually produce it. Well, it's a lot of work.
right.
And I couldn't really dedicate myself to that at all when I was teaching. But, now I've been retired for quite a while. But I really want to do that. I really, really want to do that. And I
Mhm.
don't find the time. I don't make myself do it. And I think other things are more important.
Right.
So I don't do it. But
Mhm.
that's the first thing that comes into my mind is something that I really want to do. That's what it is.
Okay. And that's important because obviously you've given a lot of thought to it. So
Yes. Yes, I have.
yeah, so that says that's something. So yes, over the course of the weeks, I'm going to be asking you about that, by the way.
Okay.
Now that you verbalize it, that's the first thing, is the best thing is to verbalize something, because it puts life to an idea, a thought, and then it's like, ooh, I guess I should do that. So Veronica, what do you have? So what would you do?
Well, since we started with these making masks, I've been kind of interested in getting back into sewing, but I need to be able to have a space where I can leave the machine up, not have to take it
Mm.
down every day.
Right, that's true.
Oh.
Sewing does take lots of room. So yeah, well, good.
Otherwise, I'd want to get back to playing tennis.
Oh, okay. See, that would be good too. Both of
Yeah.
them. Very, very different. Very different.
Well,
All right. The next part said, what were 6 non-negotiable things? What are some non-negotiables that if you don't, then it's not going to happen? Anybody? Non-negotiables.
I have a whole list.
That's probably. Yeah. Okay. Name a couple.
Well, actually Patrick does help, but shopping for the family, and because he helps daddy in the yard so much, I do the housework, I'm the person who does everything, and then finances for mom and dad, plus the business, plus myself.
Okay.
Mm.
All right. Danielle, what do you have? What's a non-negotiable?
I'm sorry, a non-negotiable meaning like something that I won't give up.
That has to be done. You have to do it. You can't.
Oh,
you can't yeah, there's no negotiation. It's up to you, or it's not going to happen.
everything.
Oh,
Me.
yeah. Okay. Patty?
Well, I have some things that I do that I feel are non-negotiable, but I don't, it's not like, some that have been named already, but I do try to walk every day now because I'm trying to get my leg back in shape. So I feel like that's non-negotiable. Even if it would pour down rain all day, then I'm going to walk in the house. I do feel like that I want to do it. It doesn't even have to be a long walk, just as long as I do it. And then there are some home exercises. I have gone back to therapy just recently because I quit, when the quarantine hit big time. I was just kind of afraid to go.
Right.
But, now I've gone back. And so I feel like those things for my health and my betterment are non-negotiable.
Good.
And I do read a devotion and read some Bible verses every day, and I don't feel right about it if I don't. So I feel that is sort of a non-negotiable.
Good. Okay.
I would say those are a couple things that come to my mind. I remember writing down when I did have that sheet on my screen.
All right, good. Okay, so we have the we know those things. We're going to do those things. Now, really, the negotiables are some of the things we've already talked about before. The thing that I want us to do is really think about how can we combine? Because a lot of times, we've already said the non-negotiables we've got to do, okay? But we tend to not do the sewing, the gardening, some of those other things, the writing. A lot of those things tend to get pushed to the side. So what I want us to think about are what are ways that we can combine. I'll give you a couple examples. And I mentioned this on, I guess, in the Facebook group that I've got about Audible. I signed up back in February, I think, and I have absolutely loved that. I love reading a book in hand, but it just wasn't happening. and I'd say, okay, I'm going to read at night. And invariably, I'd work right up until bedtime. You know, by the time you shower and get ready, you haven't read. And so that's been wonderful. And I like to do it while I garden. I do it when I take a walk. I have a friend, she's also a health coach. We connect on a weekly basis. She's got a little one. She gives me a call, sends me a text and says, hey, I'm taking him out for a walk. You want to catch up? So for her, she's getting 3 things done. She's getting our time in, and hold on a sec. Oh, okay. Zoom's giving me some extra time. And so she's having our time together. She's also getting her little boy out for some fresh air, seeing neighbors, waving, and she's getting exercise. So the more things that we can do like that, then all of a sudden we're not trying to balance all of these plates, because now we're putting these 2 together. So what are some things that you can do where you take a non-negotiable and a negotiable thing, something that has to be done, and put it with something that you'd like to do, so that now you get the benefit of both things? So can you think of some things?
Well, I've been trying to, like you do the Audible book while working in the yard. I've attempted to do it while cooking, but usually there's a certain little lady in the kitchen who keeps interrupting me, so I can't.
Yeah, you need quiet. What
Yes.
I find with the cooking too, and Audible or podcasts, because I love podcasts too, is sometimes, like yesterday, I was making cookies, and I was really getting into the recipe because it was different, and I was missing some of the podcasts. So sometimes you can't, but a lot of things you can do the 2 together. So good. All right. Anybody else think of ways?
Well, I could probably use the Audible when I'm doing my walk or whatever, because I do want to read. But I really enjoy that book in my hands. I mean, I have a Nook, and when I go on trips or whatever, that's when I usually take my Nook.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I enjoy having a real book.
Mhm.
And I use our library a lot.
Right.
Thank goodness it's almost ready to reopen for everybody, not just curbside. But I don't know. I enjoy the library, and I enjoy having a book. If I happen to buy a book, I enjoy giving the book to somebody or putting it in a sale or something for somebody to also get some good out of the book.
Mhm.
But that's where I could sort of combine. And one thing I am doing, I didn't mention earlier, but most days I do a post on the Casey Historical Society Facebook page. I haven't missed for a long time, but sometimes I miss. But right now I added, it's called Casey at the Plate. I didn't want to do Casey at the Bat, so I do Casey at the Plate. And at the bottom of my post, which is a lot of trivia, historical, fun stuff, or sometimes serious, then I'll put some Casey history at the bottom of that post. And as I've been going through the one of the big history books that Joyce Skinner compiled, I've been putting a little post-it, this would be good for my play.
Oh.
So I am kind of combining.
Right. Exactly.
So that will save me some time later.
Right.
When I start, and I'm like, oh, why didn't I mark those things when I was going through on my Casey at the Plate?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But I don't know. When I'm a little bit hobbly, it's kind of hard to combine
Mm-hmm. Right.
some of the other stuff in my house, just cleaning wise or whatever.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's something that comes to mind.
Okay. Yeah. Good. Anybody else have any other combining things? And but yeah, when you start thinking about it, a lot of times you can take some things and rethink, okay, how can I do this? How can I combine some things in order to get more things done? And again, we're not trying to make ourselves more busy. It's more of a case of being able to enjoy those things. And I find that if I'm walking, the walk seems faster. If I'm cleaning house and I'm listening to a book, I don't even mind because I'm listening to the book.
Yeah.
There are some books though, like I said, I've really enjoyed Audible. There's some though that I really like to have in book form because I want to underline and highlight. And I
Yeah.
haven't quite figured out how to do that with Kindle. Or I guess I can do that with Kindle, but I haven't quite figured out how to maneuver Audible to those extra features. So yeah, I do like some books to just physically have the book in hand too. So
Do you have any bookshelves?
book sales.
No, shelves. You can't have empty bookshelves in your house.
Oh no, no. As a matter of fact, Jerome and I just swapped offices, and it's a mess. You can only see this nice little perfect corner here, but if you could see out there,
Yeah. Oh, I hear you. I get it.
and a lot of it is books. Yeah. And
Yeah. No, I was just kind of kidding, but I can't imagine my house without some bookshelves and books on them. That's,
and my nightstand has tons of books.
yeah.
And I tend to feel like if I put it away, I won't see it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
So the pile gets higher and higher with each subject matter you want to look into.
right. Yeah. And we're in the age of information overload, to be perfectly honest. So, but one of
Yeah.
the things, and that's, were you able to get your, the actual blueprint, Patty? Or did you lose that too?
I got it all.
Oh, okay.
And I was working on the lessons, and when you told me to just work through lesson 1,
Mhm.
I thought that I ran that blueprint off though, but
Okay.
it's in one of my stacks.
Okay.
See, there you go. That's what you're going to learn about me.
But you have 1 week to find it, but
All
I'll
right.
send those.
Okay.
But I want us to each think of, and that's where the blueprint comes in. So what are we going to do? Now, it doesn't have to be where you combine. The whole point of the combining a negotiable and a non-negotiable, that was just so like you were talking about all the different things that are non-negotiable. They have to be done.
Right.
The idea is to take something from there and yet do that enjoyable thing, like the reading. So, but I want us to be thinking specifically in the area of self-care, okay? And if it has to do with walking or whatever, you can wait and use it later when we get to movement, or you could use it now, it doesn't matter. But the idea is I want each of us to have for sure 2 things that you will say, I will do this, and then you'll set a limit to it, or not a limit, but you'll set a time for it. Because see, that's the other thing with self-care. It's so easy to say that, I'm going to do this, but not necessarily decide when you're going to do it. And so then it's easy to not even realize that you wanted to do that thing. One of the things that I have started doing, and I really enjoy, after a shower in the evening, is the heels of my feet are horrendous. I mean, I can go through socks because my heels are so dry. But I have been putting, Erica got me some really neat whipped body butter, and it has all kinds of neat stuff in it. And I love rubbing my feet at night. And occasionally I don't do it, but I try to. And then I even use a little essential oils. But again, I'm trying to get into that habit. And that's the whole point of the blueprint, is to say, I will do this. And so for me, my goal is to do it nightly. When? Before bed. But it helps even to have a time. Because like now I've gotten into this regimen of, okay, 9 o'clock, all right, shut everything down. And it should have been shut down a long time ago, but 9 o'clock, shower. And then that gives me time to after go ahead and rub my feet, rub my hands, and, sort of a little nice self-care. And so again, the more we can narrow it down and give it a window, we'll notice when we don't do it. But if it's just out there floating and I say, oh yeah, I should do that whenever, then it's probably not going to happen. So anybody have a chance to think about some self-care thing that you're going to start implementing? And it doesn't have to be daily. You can decide the intervals. It's just doing something and then committing to it. Does anybody have any ideas?
Something that I do now is on Fridays, I go buy something for dinner instead of cooking because I don't enjoy cooking. So that's my self-care.
Okay, perfect. All right. So there again, you know. So if you miss it, you're going to realize it because you've got to, it's not, oh, once a week I'm going to do it. You know that it's Friday. So, okay, good.
Yeah.
And it's any kind of, you decide on Friday what you're going to get, whatever you feel like.
No, I already, you know me. I already know where I'm going.
All right, you're the planner. Okay. Anybody else have anything? So that would be one of your self-cares, right, Danielle? That you're doing that. Okay. Anybody else have one?
I've been working on the getting up and, well, typically, definitely, I wake up and I do my Bible reading, and then normally at least every other day out the door by 7 o'clock for a 45-minute jog
Mm-hmm.
with the goal of 3 miles
Oh, wow.
in under 17 minutes.
Perfect. Okay. See, having that, because that makes you'll know when you reach it.
Yeah.
By just saying, oh, 3 miles, you could take 3 miles in 45 minutes, but because you've set a time. So where are you at? Are you getting anywhere close?
I've I've been doing fairly well. I'm managing at least 2 days a week. And by it being every other day, I get to, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, then the following Friday, then Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday.
Okay.
So it's breaking it up, and then I use some of that time to listen to books.
Okay. All right. So 3 miles in 17 minutes.
Or actually, I'm trying for 16 and a half now.
Okay. Okay. All right.
I'm getting ready for the next 5K.
There you go. That's how you do it, though. That's exactly how you do it. Okay. All right, Patty, what do you have anything that you can think of?
Well, I'm just reminded of the walking since they were mentioning that. And I do have to use a cane still. I mean, if I just take out walking by myself, I really limp. And I've learned from talking to a couple of nurses and also the therapist that limping, I've learned it. So I'm having to break the habit of it as well as strengthening. It's obvious from what I do that my leg is weak, but I also have learned it. And it's been a few years since I started limping, and I just put off the surgery. I don't have time. Somebody's getting married. I was always in charge of VBS at church, and that timing's not right, or I was going on a trip. And so I finally, scheduled it. And but I try to get out there every day. Now I'm in therapy 3 times a week.
Okay.
And what I would like to do is, as soon as I'm home from therapy, I might run a few errands while I'm out. But as soon as I come home, I want to do that walk. And I try to walk 15 or 20 minutes, but it's after therapy and it is with a cane. And then sometimes I'll go back out in the evening maybe and walk, a little bit longer. Plus I have at-home exercises.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get into a better schedule of taking care of all that, because I know that is self-care. I've got to do it.
Good. All right. I like that. I like that. And again, it's got to be intentional. And V, I liked what you said. You do this at 7, right?
Yes.
Yeah. See, lately I haven't been doing my exercise, whether it's jumping on my little mini trampoline or walking, because I start the day and I find that I need to do that. I need to have a set time, because just like when I worked, I knew I had to be in this classroom or doing this or that. If we don't have some kind of frame in mind, then it spills over. And so that's something that I need to do. Patty, you mentioned earlier about writing a screenplay.
Yeah.
You could even work that in.
Oh,
Please.
I don't think it's going to be a screenplay.
Well, okay, a play. Same
A
difference.
play, yeah.
But just think if you set half an hour aside.
Yeah, I know. I'm already thinking that. So,
Mm-hmm. So, well, good. And V, I'm going to be on you about your I was gonna say your 3-minute mile, but I guess it's not. It's 17.
Yeah, we're not trying to break anybody's track record.
We're not trying to break that record.
Not at 70. I can't imagine me trying to break a 3-minute mile.
oh my gosh. More power to you.
Yeah.
Although I'm finally getting ready to get back into my once a week sauna because they are finally back to being open. So I got to schedule that.
Mm-hmm. And that's sort of one of mine. And I don't think they have here in Illinois. I'm not sure. But I want to do that because there again, that was one of those hit and miss things that I loved it when I went, but I didn't go very often. And I'd forget about it and then all of a sudden think of it. But now I want it to be more where it's like, okay, even if it's not every month, but it's just like, okay, every other month or every 6 weeks, this is when I give them a call. And they'll even let you set it up. As a matter of fact, they try to get you to set it up to get you back. So, but anyway, if you haven't yet, even if you feel you can handle 2 things, then by all means, put 2 things. If you feel like, boy, one is going to stretch you, then just put 1. But I encourage you to put the date on the blueprint. And if you want, before you even do that, you can make copies. And, maybe this is your summer one. And then it'd be neat in a month or a couple months or in the fall to be able to say, wow, I'm at, doing 3 miles in 12 minutes or whatever, to be able to see the progress. I think too often, because we don't write things down, we don't really see, most of us are making a lot more progress than we think. But because we don't write it down, we have no real record of it. But the more we put our intentions down, the more we say them out loud, the more, especially once someone hears it, then they can say, hey, how's that going? And it sort of gets us committed. So, all right, any other comments? Definitely, I think the self-care. I really feel last year my sort of issues that I had with my skin breaking out, and I was a mess. And I know a lot of it had to do with the fact I wasn't taking care of myself. I was being available to everybody for everything. And I'm not blaming anybody, it was me. And I love doing it. And I've had to really taper back, say no to a few things. And sometimes we're trying to do everything. And we all sound like busy people, all of us. And so I think we just have to make sure that we are doing the things and doing the things for the season we're in. I think that's the other thing too, because a lot of times, sometimes we need to say no because we're keeping other people from actually maybe doing what they are called to do. So, and I don't want to see anybody go through that, what I went through. So definitely fill out your self-care and then go through and start looking at the next week on food, and we will get into that. I'm leaving this group open. There's several other people who weren't able to come in to the group but are part of it, already signed up, but they just had things going. But definitely, if you know of anybody before next week, when we close this one, feel free to send them to my page and then they can sign up. But I think it's going to be really good for all of us. And I like hearing your comments, your input, because then that spurs, I think, each of us to say, oh, I hadn't thought of that. Let me try that. So, and I'm going to be checking. I've written down a few things. So I'll be asking some of you, how's that going? So any other parting words before it's almost, let's see, almost about 12 to 7. And so I have officially done the first Zoom and hopefully not made an absolute mess. I'll have to practice a little bit more. But again, stretching ourselves. Thank you, Danielle, for the clap. But, you know, we have to push ourselves. And I know for me personally, a lot of times I like being comfortable. And, you know, I've read a lot about the brain and how the brain works. And our bodies, it's not that they're trying to sabotage us, but our brain wants everything to just be good and okay. And when we push ourselves, you know, we get out of our comfort zone and it's hard and we stretch ourselves. And we know how it is with exercise and we're using muscles we haven't used. And so the brain tends to be like, oh, you don't want to do that. That's going to be hard. And so I think we're all at the place where we want to move forward. We want to see progress. We're tired of saying, I can't do that, or it's just never going to happen for me. I see so much potential in all of us. So anyway, thank you, ladies. And also, and again, I'm going to send you a link. I started a Facebook page. I don't know how many of you get on Facebook all that much, but it'll be a place where you can, if you choose, to pop in and ask a question, or you just want to leave a comment, maybe some encouragement to say, hey, I'm actually doing this, or this is what I've done this week. So I will send something out with information on that. And then unless there's a comment, I don't see any hands, we will talk again next week. And then I'll also send the replay for this. So if you want to watch it again, you can do that. So have a great evening.
Hey, thanks, Maggie.
You're
All right,
welcome. You guys have
thank you.
all right.
All
And
right.
see you next week then.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.